Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about the Evolve Carbon GT and comparing it to the bamboo boards in the Evolve range to find out which board suits you best. So this video will be divided up into two parts. In the first part we'll be talking about the specs of the carbon board and comparing it to the bamboo boards, and in the second part we'll be running it through a few performance tests. So the Carbon GT is the longest board in the Evolve range. What that means in practical terms is that you can put your feet further apart on the deck and that will give you some more stability for your ride. It also means it has a slightly bigger turning circle than the other boards. Being made from carbon fiber, it means that it's going to have less flex than the bamboo boards. So if you are after a board that has a lot of flex and a lot of bounce, the bamboo options are great for you. However, if you want stability, especially at high speeds, this board is fantastic. It's the same reason we use it for all the big challenges, such as the Go-Kart Super Race Challenge and the World's Steepest Hill Climb Challenge. So this board is very different from a design perspective because all the electrics are built into the case itself. That gives it a very sleek, stealthy look compared to the bamboo boards, which do have their electrics built into a case which sit underneath the board. In my opinion, this is sexy as f***. Now in terms of customization, there are a bunch of options, especially when it comes to wheels. The Carbon GT accepts all sorts of wheels, from the really fast street wheels to the AT and off-road setups. The same as the Bamboo GT and the GTX. The one board, however, doesn't take the AT setups. The big area of difference is the deck. The Carbon is a lot harder to customize the deck, whereas the bamboo can be quite customizable. All you got to do is sand back the grip and then apply a design of your choice. With the Carbon, you can't quite do this. You are limited to changing the grip tape, and if you really wanted to change the deck look, you'd probably have to look at a hydro dipping option. Now, all the boards pretty much have a great street to all-terrain conversion option, apart from one board which only has a street configuration. What that means is that they're great in a whole bunch of circumstances. Now, I personally prefer the Carbon GT in all-terrain configuration. It's great for commuting and it's really stable off-road as well. So technically the boards are all pretty similar, especially the Carbon GT, the Bamboo GT and the GTX. They all share the same electrics and the same motors. The one big difference though is the battery size. Now the Carbon GT and the GTX have the biggest batteries, which gives them the biggest range. We did a test a couple of weeks ago to show a real world scenario of how they perform, so check out that video. But in the end they were both pretty similar. And they both traveled well over 30 kilometers on a single charge in an all-terrain configuration. So a few weeks ago, we did a comparison on the entire bamboo range and put it through a bunch of practical tests. That included an uphill climb, a sprint test, and a slide test. Let's put the Carbon GT through the same tests and see how it goes.
All right, let's see what the Carbon GT can do on the hill climb. Obviously, you know, the Carbon always feels that little bit more stable at speed. It's got that nice longer wheelbase. So, you know, once you get up to speed, it just sometimes just feels that little bit more comfortable. You know, it's a Carbon drop deck, so, you know, you lock your feet in the end and you can get a wider stance as well. So that adds to, you know, increasing your stability. Personally, I do still prefer the bamboo for sliding. You know, a combination of just a bit more of a flexy deck, you can push a bit harder on it, you know, get that sort of pop through it. I think the shorter wheelbase helps as well sometimes.
So in the previous test comparing the bamboo range, the GTX did win out because it did have that bigger battery and more flexible deck. Now when you put the Carbon GT into the mix, you can see that they are pretty similar in terms of performance.
Choosing my favourite board is a hard call. I would say the Carbon all day long with the all-terrain wheels is the best setup. The ridges at the front and the ridges at the back really allows you to dig in when accelerating or braking hard, and it's super stable at speed. Probably why it was the winner at the World Cup in most races. But then the street setup, the GTX with the added flex of the board and the 97 wheels is really awesome. I really love these with the street wheels. So it's a hard call, it depends which is your favourite set of wheels. I can't choose between them.
The main difference between the Bamboo GTX and the Carbon GT is the deck. If we talk about riding, this deck gives you the best stability if you want to ride very bad terrain with a lot of rock, strange paths if you want to discover a foreign country, or when you want to ride fast.
So I really love both of them, but really for different kind of reasons, because it's two way of rides, clearly different. So with the Carbon one, I like to hit the road, to go on max speed and to have the control of the Carbon. And when I'm with my friend, slide, hippie jump and carving and have fun, I always take my Bamboo because it's more like flexible and for all, it's quite the same for the AT mode for me. It's quite the same, the control of the Carbon and the fun with the Bamboo.
I personally prefer the Carbon GT in the all-terrain configuration because I like to commute and I find my legs being further apart on the board give me the stability I'm after. So at the end of the day, it does come down to personal preference. The One board is a great entry-level board and it's agile due to its size and weight. Whereas the Bamboo GT has the twin motors, which gives it more performance, but it's still agile because it is slightly less heavy. The GTX does have the most flex in the Bamboo range, and people tend to really like it because of that. The GTX and the Carbon GT have bigger batteries, which are gonna give them great range. So while the boards do vary in terms of specs, I think it often comes down to personal choice, how you want the board to look and how you want the board to feel. That's why Evolve have 4 boards in their range. All you have to do is find one that is uniquely suited to you and your riding style.